Hello, guys. Good morning, evening, afternoon, depending on where you are. Tomorrow's update, Bound by Duty for Darktide, has some changes to the Ogryn class, and I will be telling you about them, showing you what they are in this little video. It includes some buffs and nerfs for the talent tree. Hold your horses, don't panic. They're very small nerfs. And Ogryn is a very big man, so he can take it. But more interesting is a refresh. I won't call it a rework because it's not that extensive, but it's a little facelift for the Ogryn Power Maul, considered by many a long neglected weapon, probably his worst melee weapon. This aims to at least make it more interesting, and they're all buffs, so it should be more powerful. But all buffs, debatable. It's the most interesting one is the one I will talk about first. Is a change to how its special action works. As you can see right now, the Power Maul is zipping and zapping already. That's because its special attack is currently available, as opposed to unavailable. Well, what does that mean? It now has a cooldown. As you can see, the zippy zappy is gone. There's a little venting smoke effect coming off of the Power Maul right now. And in about, 10, 12 seconds, I think? Bam, zap, it comes back to life, and the special action is available again. Why was this done? Well, it's because it didn't really have much of an identity, I think is the idea. Like, what was the effective way of using it? Maybe just spamming it back to back to keep a group of enemies like slightly concussed, but it didn't have enough stagger to keep a whole room or a group of elites non-stop stagger in front of you anyway. So like, what was the point? What are we supposed to do with this? So instead, it is the first special attack in Darktide's history that now has a cooldown, and the trade-off here is that it does more damage and significantly more stagger. I'll just read what the exact changelog says for this weapon. Significantly raise the damage and impact for the direct hit and close radius explosion on the special activated attacks. So slapping the smaller in the face with the special enabled. As you can tell, also a new sound effect for powering it up. So it has a new sound effect for when the special attack is available, and then a more awesome sounding attack sound for when you actually hit the button. Boom. That is a way bigger boom with a much higher level of impact than it used to have. Like I said, you've already seen on this Mauler, it doesn't one-shot an enemy elite. That's also because this update contains HP buffs for elites, but I'll let other content creators talk about that. Heresy and above, certain enemy elites will have more HP. I haven't unlocked all of the enemies in the meat grinder on this press preview account, so I can't show you everything. So this lone Mauler will have to suffice as our beat-up dummy. But yeah, so that's the thing with the special action. They made it more powerful. It has much bigger knockdown or knockback effect on the explosion. It does more single target damage, but it has a cooldown period of 12 seconds before the special activation can be performed again. That's unique. There's no other weapon in Darktide, as I recall, that has a cooldown on its special action. So it's experimental. It's a little different. It remains to be seen if it's more effective than the old special attack, but it's certainly more unique and more interesting, and it's very fun to use in the middle of a little group of enemies to hit him with the old boom, send a bunch of them flying, kill a bunch of them at the same time. That's good stuff. That's fun. Then there are some changes to the moveset, namely that it has received a new heavy strikedown attack. Previously, the only heavy attacks that this weapon had are these sideways swoops. Now there is there it is, a heavy strike down. It's accessible from push, so not the push attack, with just a push action. You can then do a big upside swing. It's also available after the light 2 attack. And that chain also sort of loops in itself, so you can do that and keep chaining these strike down attacks back to back. So that's light, heavy, light, heavy, etc. So it now has a single target attack combo, purely single target strike down attacks, which you previously didn't have. You had to weave in some level of heavies or sweeps rather, and it did not have a strike down heavy attack. So that's cool. And this new strike down heavy attack is also available after you press special action. So if you press special action and then go into heavy, it'll do the big bonkler straight away. I was doing half of this Mauler's HP with a activated light attack, and I almost killed it with this activated heavy attack. So as you can see, way more damage. Now you might think, you know, heavy attack on a pickaxe can one-shot a Mauler. This is not that impressive. Well, this is an HP buff Mauler. But no, it's not an amazing single target damage attack, but that's because it's also has a huge CC explosion. It's like a mini grenade. Think of it that way on a 12-second cooldown, which is attached to your melee weapon. So I think it's cool. It's new. It's creative. And there's a cool new Strikedown attack to go with it. Then some general buffs to the rest of the weapon. Added new light 3 and light 4 looped attacks with faster attack speed and shorter chain times. These attacks are reached when continuing the attack chain after the first light 4. So that sounds confusing. What it means is that this is what the light attack chain for the power maul looks like. This is light 3 and light 4. Those are two diagonal swipes that always looped back to back if you kept light attacking, so it would not repeat these two strike downs. It just goes straight into a looping attack. What they've done now is that there's this sense of increased momentum as you swing. So the first looping light 3 and light 4, or not looping rather, but the first light 3 and light 4 that you do in an attack chain are slightly slower, and then as you keep swinging, the next set of loops is a little faster. And then you will keep looping these faster attacks back to back for general board clearing duty. Just keep bonking, slap some chaff out of the way. That's what these attacks are for. Of course, there's also the regular heavy attack for killing hordes, which has the ability to trigger the brutal momentum blessing, which is still one of the best in-slot blessings for this weapon, I think. But it's nice. It's a little thing. It's a little unique thing. An attack chain where looping attacks get faster as you keep using them. That's also new and creative. So I think it's cool in general to see Fat Shark experiment in that direction with melee attack chains. The heavy relentless attack profile, that would be this weapon. The first target finesse multiplier is raised. So what does that mean? It does more headshot damage. And raised damage on most targets. It just hits harder. It's kind of a wet noodle attack for how long it takes to whip out. Now it does more damage. Slightly lower chain times for heavy attacks. This means that chaining these back to back is a little faster than before, but as you can see, it's still pretty unwieldy. Added buffer time 0.4 for the start, attack, and wield inputs. You know, I don't even know what some of these mean. There's a buffer time when you start an attack and a wield input. You tell me what that means. I don't even know. Remove chain time to block for light 1 and light 2. Oh yeah, what that means is that you can now interrupt your first two light attacks instantly instead of having to wait for a certain input hold time until your block is activated, so you can interrupt yourself straight away. It makes the weapon feel a little more agile. It's nice. It's nice to have. The push follow attack chain time from push. So this attack is a little faster than before. So if you hold the button when you do a push, you do a sideways sweep. And if you just push and then do a heavy, you will do the new Strikedown Heavy. And the push radius is a little bigger than before, so that's this effect. Those are the changes for the Power Maul. Obviously, the most interesting being this new special. It's an experiment. Try it out for yourself when the patch drops tomorrow, and be sure to let Fat Shark know if you think that this is a success or if this is not an avenue they should explore for special attacks. I think it's very cool. I think we should stick with it, and if it's not worth the cooldown, then we just need to buff the damage and whatever, or make the radius bigger or something. But I think it's really cool that we have a power weapon that has a unique functionality. You know, like the Zealots have the Relic Blade that has a heat gauge, and we have our cooldown based special attack. There's no UI element for that. It's just diegetic information. If you see the electricity sparkling around the weapon, that means the special attack is available. If you expend it, there's no zippy zappy. There's only smoke coming out of the power engine, and then it'll make a loud noise when it's available to use again. The only downside, I think, is that if you swap away from the weapon and then back, Yeah, it'll make the noise again. Okay, not every time. But if I think if I spend this, then we wait a little bit for that to come off cooldown. So that's like the only bug that I found with the audio. And then swap away. Oh, not even. Well, it did it once and then not again, so it's not as... I guess it's a little finicky little bug, but it's not continuously bugged, so that's nice. That's everything for the Power Maul. Sorry if I'm a little incoherent. I'm recording this on like Sunday evening, and I've had a really long weekend, and I'm a little sick. But I wanted to get this information out to you regardless. If I'm confusing in any way, just ask for clarification in the comments, and I'll get to you and explain as best I can. Then there is another list of changes, because like I said at the start of the video, there are some changes to some talents. They're minor number tweaks. Nothing has been reworked. I'll just walk you through them. We will start with the good news. There are some buffs. We'll start with those. I should probably find them. I was looking at the Power Maul information, then I alt-tabbed on the information for the talent changes. There, I got it. Okay. So first is Linchpin. This went from 50% coherency regen to plus 100% coherency toughness regeneration. Considering that like this, and this talent exists, coherency regen is still irrelevant, but it's twice as good. If this is in any way useful, then have fun with it. Towering Presence has gone from 50% coherency radius to 75%. Still an irrelevant talent. I don't think this changes anything. But there we go. Furious. For each enemy you hit during the same melee attack, you gain plus 3% damage on your next melee attack. This was 2.5% previously. Simple-Minded down here has gone up to 40% corruption resistance, up from 30. Too Stubborn to Die. This is an interesting one. The health threshold, where the plus 100% toughness replenishment effect kicks in, has been buffed from 33% to 50% health. So as soon as you are below 50% HP, every source of toughness regen that you have is doubled in power. That includes Confident Strike, Blessing, it includes Smash 'em and the Best Defense, it includes the regen you get from Steady Grip, it includes coherency regen, it includes toughness you get from allies, any numerous sources, toughness you get from kills. All of that is doubled. So if you need to clutch or kick, you know, this is the fucking talent to do it with. Because that's actually a really strong effect. But being below 33% HP is kind of, you know, limiting. How often does that really happen? Below 50%, I think, makes it a way more enticing pickup, because that is not that unlikely. If you are playing a difficult Havoc or Aura game, you might be spending significantly more of your time below 50% HP than you are strictly below 33%. So worth considering if you are playing high difficulty content a lot, or, you know, if you're super good, then you don't need this because it will not be active, because you'll be at 100% HP because you're a god. But, you know, worth playing around with. Bash and Blast is this talent down here. All of the bonuses have gone up. It was 2.5% damage per melee kill. It is now 3% range damage. It has the amount of stacks has been reduced, but it's easier to build the total damage bonus, and the duration has been extended from 6 stacks to 5 stacks, and the duration has been extended from 8 seconds to 10 seconds. Massacre is over here. Where's that? Is that this one? There it is. Killing an enemy grants 2% critical chance for 12 seconds. Stacks 8 times. This used to be 1.5% per stack, but now you can get 16% critical chance from this. 8 times 2 for 12 seconds. It's still not amazing. There's still not a lot of Ogryn guns that use a lot of critical damage buffs, but it'll make it a little easier to trigger things like Flechette and Charmed Reloads if that's what you were trying to have fun with, and it'll make this a little more enticing. Bullet Bravado is the toughness regen talent for Point Blank Barrage. That has been buffed. I don't really know why. I think just because Point Blank Barrage isn't run very often in the highest content levels, but that's not because it's not a strong ability with a lot of toughness regen. That's because, you know, you just don't have that much ammo going around in iHavocs to blow up the room every single time. But whatever, we take those. It's now 2.5% toughness per shot fired, and 15% toughness on each reload, which used to be 2% and 10% respectively. Trample is a talent on this side. The brace damage increase used to be 2% per stack. It's now 2.5% per stack, but the amount of stacks has gone down from 25 to 20. I haven't mathed it out, but I think this means that the damage bonus is roughly the same. It's just easier to achieve. It might even be increased if you have 20 stacks. But the duration is also being extended from 8 to 10 seconds, so it's easier to make use of the bonus stacks you got from charging through a big horde of enemies. So that's good. The horde needs to be slightly smaller, and you have more time to use the damage bonus. Bonus from Feel No Pain has been improved from 2.5% toughness replenishment to 3%, and 3% TDR instead of 2.5%. No reduction in stacks. It's just a straight buff to the amount of replenishment and TDR that you get from this keystone. This makes it more enticing. The defensive bonuses are better. Mobile emplacement is up here. You take 25% reduced damage now. This was 20 before, so it's a 5% buff. That's nice. Lucky Streak is this weird talent where you gain a bonus to your critical strike damage. This was 50%. It was completely unpicked and irrelevant. Now it's 75%. I haven't played around with this. You may be able to make interesting builds with this, with like one of the single-barreled heavy stubbers using surgical and deadly accurate or something. You may be able to juice the crit damage to crazy levels. Somebody else is gonna have to test that and see how crazy that gets. I haven't had much time with this. Then there are some nerfs. I know. Holy shit, we're being nerfed. Everybody panic. No, relax. They're small. You're being slapped on the wrist. It's not a big deal. Pumped Up is a really good talent here. Damage resistance while being above 75% stamina. This used to be 15%. It's now 12.5. No Hurting Friends is this talent where if allies incoherency take damage, you gain bonus strength and TDR, which is basically free because it's triggered all the time. It's gone from 2.5% to 2% strength per stack and 10% TDR at max. Oh, it still says 15% here. Okay, maybe that's a UI bug. In my list of notes, it says that the TDR has gone down from 15% to 10%. But here I'm still seeing 15%. Well, okay, somebody will need to check if this has actually changed. It's supposed to have gone down to 10%, but maybe they missed something. Loyal Protector is the taunt ability. The cooldown has increased slightly from 45 seconds to 50. I think this is because Loyal Protector has proved to be very powerful in high havoc ranks, and well, easiest way to make a strong ability a little less oppressive is to increase the cooldown. So that's what they've done by 5 seconds. Like I said, slap on the wrist, really not a big deal. Valuable Distraction is this really, really strong node, which is a damage amp to all of your taunted enemies that have been affected by Loyal Protector. That bonus has gone down from 25% to 20%. I'm really not surprised. This is a super strong talent, so a little nerf to the amount of damage buff that you can put on enemies with this is, yeah, I mean, it seems fair to me. You might think this is unfair, but I thought this talent was so good, I'm not surprised. Don't Feel a Thing is, I believe, where is that? I don't even know which. Oh yeah, that's this one. This is an upgrade node for Heavy Hitter that provided toughness damage reduction. Still does that. But instead of 1.5% per stack of Heavy Hitter, it's down to 1.25% per stack of Heavy Hitter. So slight tweak downwards. But, you know, you could make the argument that it was weird that the offensively oriented keystone was providing that much TDR to begin with. So I don't think that's a strange nerf. Great Cleaver has been reduced from 15% per Heavy Hitter stack down to 12.5% additional cleave, and Impactful has also been nerfed from 10% impact per stack to 7.5% impact per stack. That's a little more heavy-handed of a nerf, but this was very strong. You could juice your impact levels to the point where, like, simple Mark III club light attacks would interrupt Ragers out of their combos. Maybe you could still do that with this node. I don't even know. But that this node is being nerfed slightly makes sense, because a lot of these upgrade nodes for heavy hitter were just really, really strong, and this was like easily the strongest keystone in the tree. So, you know, something's got to give at some point. Then batter. This might be the most contentious one. This used to do, after the Ogryn rework, it would do 2 stacks of bleed on a light attack and 4 on a heavy attack. It's been reduced down to 1 on a light attack or any melee hit, and then only 4 specifically on a heavy melee hit. I think that's just because Ogryn, with like Confident Strike on a fast light attacking weapon and these 2 toughness regen nodes at the top, so on something like a Mark IV Cleaver or a Mark III Bully Club and batter and stuff from heavy hitter, was just so strong. That build was so crazy. He would do so much damage, regen so much toughness, and apply so much bleed. It was just too much on top, stacked on top. And I mean, Ogryn, the strongest Ogryn builds were competing with RBTs for strongest class in the game, and RBTs also seeing a few nerfs in this patch. Some other content creator will tell you what they are. I don't give a fuck about the RBTs. I'm gonna be real with you. I'll just tell you the Ogryn news. So that's something, some of these, especially the really heavy hitting, really strong light attacking, so not heavy attacking, but light attacking melee builds, that was arguably the strongest one. Some aspects of that have received a small slap on the wrist, and yeah. I mean, it was doing like excessive amounts of toughness regen, excessive amounts of TDR, excessive amounts of attack speed, excessive amounts of bleed. So they've tackled a few of those excesses a little bit in this nerf, in this update. But again, I think it's nothing to be concerned about. I think we're still sitting pretty as one of the best classes in the game. So I don't want to see anybody panicking in the comments. It's fine. You know, we can take it on the chin. We're big. We're strong. Nothing to worry about. That is everything. It's a few number tweaks on the talent tree, and it is a new special attack on the power maul and some tweaks to the rest of its moveset. Have fun tomorrow. Play around with the power maul. Maybe, yeah, let me know if you think it's become any good. At the very least, I think it's fun to be able to blow big holes in groups of enemies, send them all flying, and to do more damage on the single hit than we were doing previously. I think the biggest deal, honestly, is being able to have like a dedicated light attack, not light attack, but strikedown attack chain. That feels pretty good. I would show you what it looks like on a crusher, but they don't spawn. Like I said, I don't have everything unlocked on this build, so you'll have to try it out tomorrow. And especially have fun in the new Auric, because certain elites have HP buffs, like crushers are way tankier than before. Gunners, ragers, maulers, they're all tankier. And Auric is getting timer-based horde spawns the same way Havoc does, so the pressure from enemies will be more relentless. And it will be possible for captains, trader captains, to spawn as an anti-speedrunning measure if you're progressing through the level too quickly. So that might be that might throw a wrench in your snooze-fest Auric games. All right, if you were one of the people who thought Auric was too easy, definitely give it another shot. It should be way more fun to play with pups now. That's everything. Sorry if I was rambling. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.